As many of you will know, I've had a week off making videos. I uploaded a Blue Fire POV last Wednesday, and now I am back. And I am back with a rant. That rant being about Oktoberfest at Alton Towers, Thorpe Park and Blackpool Pleasure Beach. No, I don't rant very often, but I was never a fan of this event, controversially, when I first saw it. And now I've seen all the vlogs from it and stuff. I've made my judgment, and my judgment is final. No, I've not been to the event myself, and before people start saying to me, oh, you've not been to the event, you can't judge it properly, it's probably better than it looks, or whatever, it's better than it looks. Yeah, it probably is better than it looks, to be fair, but I mean, I've not really been to many theme park events, to be honest. I've been to, Chessington Halloween in 2015, Alton Towers Christmas in 2013, Vampire Beach in 2019, so I've not exactly got a lot to compare it to in terms of things that I've been to, but I've got a lot to compare it to in terms of things that I've seen and not been to, like Alton Towers Scarefest, Thorpe Park Fright Nights, and it's safe to say that in terms of what I've seen, it doesn't rate all that highly. So yeah, ironically, no one at all seems to be really criticising this event. But I mean, if you want some criticism about the event, then you come to the right place. I mean, it has ended, and I wanted to save this video until it was all over, really. So that's why I'm uploading it on Wednesday. That I can't even remember what's the date. What's the date on Wednesday? So it's the 7th on Wednesday, and I'm recording this on the 4th, which is the final day of Oktoberfest. Before we get into it, I just want to say quickly, I respect everyone's opinion on this event. If you like this event, you know, that's absolutely fine. I'm not going to think any less of you if you do like this event. I completely understand that. Everyone likes different things. I also don't mean any offence to anyone with anything I'm going to say in this video. You know, I'm not trying to like damage the reputation of the parks, you know. I don't mean any offence to like the German culture or anything like that. You know, it's all for fun. It's me going to be ranting, you know, over-exaggerating a few things, but because of that sort of over-exaggerating and basically slating the event, I want to clarify that I do respect everyone's opinions. I respect the culture and everything like that. And also I got a Star Wars wall behind me, as you'll be able to see here on the right. We've got C-3PO and R2-D2 and Yoda. And to the left of that, we have got a Pleasure Beach banner, which I think the camera's only picking part of. I mean, I am visually impaired, so setting up this camera stuff isn't the easiest thing to do. You got your logo behind me, as always, as you'll be able to see. There we go. And yeah, make sure you subscribe and click the bell to ensure that you don't miss any future videos like this, because I'm probably going to be doing some more rants in the future. But with all of that out of the way, let's stop rambling and let's start ranting. So first of all, I realise some of you may actually be thinking, like, what the actual heck is Oktoberfest? And I realise that some of you who've even been to the parks may actually wonder, because it's not really something we celebrate in the UK, to say the least, let me say that. So I thought I'd just kind of explain quickly what it is. It's not just like something the parks have like named, like a German like event that the parks have sort of made up. It is based off a real celebration known as Oktoberfest, which pretty much is an annual celebration in Germany that celebrates like a wedding between like a Bavarian prince and princess that pretty much happened over 200 years ago, October the 12th, 1810 pretty much, and it's been celebrated in Germany ever since, typically from late September, mid to late September, to the first Sunday in October. So it's never actually celebrated on the day where the wedding happened, or when the wedding happened, which is a bit confusing to say the least. Like, why isn't it? I'm really not sure. But the parts, in terms of when they've done the event, have basically done it in that time frame, which makes sense. So yeah, and then that pretty much sums it up. It's pretty much a festival in Germany consisting of food and drink. And in terms of what the parks have done for it, they basically sort of followed that really, in terms of what they've done, but I'll get on to that more in a minute. In terms of how I found out about this, I saw it kind of teased or rumoured, I can't really remember, about sort of Alton Towers and Thorpe Park, that they might be doing this Oktoberfest event. I think I saw it teased like maybe like July, like just out after the parks opened. And then at first I was thinking, because I didn't know what Oktoberfest was at the time, I was sort of thinking, okay, this sounds cool, you know, because I thought, you know, Oktoberfest, Halloween's in October, I thought it's going to be like a rebranded sort of Scarefest, Fright Nights event, maybe a bit more family friendly, less intense, because, you know, with sort of mazes and stuff, because obviously the usual stuff they do isn't COVID secure. So I thought it was sort of that, like a rebranded Scarefest Fright Nights. It turns out I was wrong, as you know now, I'm sure, especially since I've said that Oktoberfest has already happened, because it's not Halloween yet. Basically, in terms of what parts are doing for Halloween, they still kept the Scarefest Fright Night names, etc. However, they are making the event COVID secure. They're doing less scare mazes and more scare zones, which is what I suspected really, except I thought that it was going to be branded under this Oktoberfest name, even though I could tell immediately that when it was being rumoured it was spelled like the German spelling October, with the K rather than the C. But I just didn't think it would be a German themed event. I thought it was just done for some stylisation, really, just to give it, you know, help the title Oktoberfest stand out a bit more and grab people's attention. But obviously there's a bit more to it than that. And then I remember it was like mid to late August. It was something like the 18th of August. I don't remember exactly. It was around that sort of time, towards mid-late August, where Thorpe Park it was, announced the event. On Instagram I saw the post, and I saw it, this German themed event, and I thought, oh dear, well, why are they doing this? Like, it doesn't, like, why are they celebrating, like, why is there some random German event at Thorpe Park? Like, what's going on? This doesn't, like, appeal to me. Like, what even is this, is what I thought pretty much. And then I found out Alton Towers were doing it, and then after the events actually started I found out Blackpool was doing it, and I was just like, no, this isn't for me. And I think shout out to like people like Josh from Theme Park Mad, some of my friends in this community have pretty much got sick of me basically ranting about this event and how much I just think it's a load of rubbish, and have said you should make a rant video on it. Hence I'm sat here today, and that's pretty much all there is to say about it. And now it's coming to an end. Like, time flies. It started like 3 weeks ago, and here we are, it's coming to an end. In terms of what parks have actually done for this Oktoberfest event, it's pretty much the same across the 3 major parks, to be honest. As I mentioned briefly at the start of the video, it's more kind of a festival type event. There's no unique attractions or anything that have come to the parks as a result of it. Which is one of the main reasons I'm not a fan of it really, because it's more that style of event really. Pretty much all the parks are selling or sold food, drink, including alcohol. Like, this is a global pandemic, for goodness sake, that we're in the middle of and then they've also been running some like entertainment, like there's been bands around, singers, actors, stuff like that. And yeah, that's pretty much the Oktoberfest summed up. I'll talk about each park individually briefly though. In Thorpe Park, it basically ran in the dockyard area of the park, which is pretty much right at the centre of the park. I'm not best at my Thorpe Park geography, because I've obviously never been, but I believe that area is at like the centre of the park, and it's where like The Walking Dead the ride is. That area is where they're running it, and that's where they're like selling food, drink, and there's some entertainment going on. And they've also got a unique soundtrack, which I actually kind of like. But yeah, and then what I don't like is that they've put announcements, like changed the announcements on the rides, like just keep it to one area. There's no need to have something like this all around the park. Just keep it to the dockyard area. Like, they changed Detonator's announcement to like German. There's just changed Stealth's announcement to German. There's no point. Like what is the point? I'm sorry, it's just not needed. Just keep it the same. Like, keep the Thorpe Park atmosphere, because I love it. Don't put like loads of German announcements and like take away from the atmosphere. Just leave it alone. You should have kept Oktoberfest to one area. I'm sorry, but it's just my opinion, and everyone probably thinks, like, wondering why I'm saying this, but yeah, you know, and I love that island soundtrack at the entrance. Like, as much as the Oktoberfest one's great, they literally removed the amazing Island Like No Other soundtrack and replaced it with this average, bang average soundtrack. They replaced one of the best UK soundtracks with a bang average German twist of the Thorpe Park theme. I'm sorry, just no. But that's it pretty much for Thorpe Park. As for the new ride announcements, as much as I'm not a fan of them, I'd say the Stealth one is probably my favourite. But the only ones I know of that changed was Detonator and Stealth. I'm not aware of any others, but there might well have been. But yeah, as for Alton Towers, they're doing something similar, obviously, as I said, except they're selling the food and drink, or they sold it on the front lawn. They've got some revamped soundtracks as well, and I don't believe they changed any of the announcements at Alton Towers to German announcements. I really hope they didn't, because I honestly do not like the fact they did that at Thorpe Park. And they have some actors around as well, bands on the front lawn, and I believe I remember seeing some actors around Wicker Man from posts I saw, stuff like that. But again, just keep it to one area. Why couldn't you keep it to one area? Just keep it to that front lawn. I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, Towers, that area is not really themed or anything. Like, it's kind of bare, so it does make sense that they put it there. Like, it feels like something does need to go there, so yeah, I guess it kind of makes sense. But at the same time, again, changing soundtracks. I love the Alton Towers soundtrack as well. There's just no need. Just leave it alone. I know it adds to the festival, but I prefer the original Towers soundtrack. Just so, yeah. What people are probably thinking, why are you saying not to put these soundtracks in when it kind of adds to the theme? Yeah, it does, but in my opinion, I don't like the soundtracks. Well, I do like them, but not as much as the original, so yeah, that's why I'm saying that pretty much. It sounds stupid, but yeah. But, I mean, Alton Towers, it's a bit more bearable an event than Thorpe, just because they've not changed as many of the announcements and stuff. But that's all that can be said about that. One thing I will mention, that it is kind of good they did this, keeping people in the park for longer and making the most out of the event, helping to, you know, get with the financial benefits and sort of doing events like this, which I'll get onto later. It's kind of good that they kept like the food and the entertainment open after the park closed, like the rides closed, so that obviously you can make the most of like people going to get that, because, you know, there may be many people, I mean, I know I'd be like this, want to make the most of my ride time during the day and not fussed about watching the Oktoberfest entertainment. I want to, and drinking and eating food, I want to be on the rides in the day. So it's a good job that with this going on, that they kept it going after park closed, obviously, so they can make the most out of it financially, because obviously more people are going to be going there after the park like rides are closed, because there's nothing else to do apart from go home, which, to be honest, I'm not a fan of this event, so I probably would have gone home and not bothered with it entirely, but I'm talking on behalf of everyone else. And yeah, as for the closing times, like for example, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I believe the park would close at 8, and then the Oktoberfest side of things would close at 8:30. And then Monday to Thursday, it was like the park would close at 6 and Oktoberfest would close at 7. So yeah, and then at Thorpe Park, I believe it was like Monday to Thursday, or Sunday to Thursday, the park would close at 5, and then Friday to Sunday it'd be like, no, Friday to Saturday it'd be like 8, but the Oktoberfest would close at the same time. And the Alton Towers actually, that event ran less time than the Thorpe Park, because it was like the 11th of September to the 4th of October when I'm recording this today. And the Thorpe Park was the 7th of September, so on the Monday, to the 4th of October. So Alton Towers was like 4 days short. So, yeah, and then, yeah, they did it at Blackpool Pleasure Beach as well. But what they did right at Pleasure Beach is they kept it to one area, so it wasn't messing up the atmosphere in the rest of the park. Thank goodness for that. In the new area known as the Hub, they've basically Pleasure Beach have cleared some of the wild mouse sites, and that's where they put the Oktoberfest event, where they were basically selling food and drink, and they had a band there as well, I remember. And this event actually only ran on Saturdays. It ran on 3 Saturdays, from the 12th of September to the 26th of September. So yeah, I guess because I'm not a fan of it, I kind of see that as a good thing. Everyone else probably see it as bad, but yeah, less Oktoberfest, so better, I guess. But yeah, and then what was good as well is that they had the Oktoberfest late night riding, which was the 26th of September, last weekend, and obviously that was usual 10 PM park close. However, because of local restrictions up here in the northwest, including Blackpool, some stuff closed a bit earlier at like 8:30, just so that they could clear the park in time. But yeah, that's all the parks are doing. I've waffled on enough now. Now let's get on to the rants themselves. So the first sort of thing I want to just rant about in relation to this event then, specifically, is why choose a celebration that no one barely in this country will celebrate, unless maybe they're, I don't know, German, but that's obviously going to be a big minority of people, because this isn't Germany, this is the UK. Like, why choose a German celebration for an event that no one is going to recognise? Like, it just doesn't make sense. Like, just why do that? Like, I know it's an excuse to sell additional food and drink because that's what the event's around, and obviously that's a good way for parks to get money back. Obviously we've lost like 3 months of the season, so you know, selling food and drink, perfect way to, you know, get people to spend more, get more money coming in, you know, encourage people to the park with the new event. That's fine, but why Oktoberfest? Just why? Just what is the point of choosing an event that no one is gonna, like, you know, recognise? I mean, people probably aren't thinking about that, but just why choose Oktoberfest? Like, why not choose something that people in this country are going to recognise more and care more about, you know? Stuff like Scarefest, fine, it's Halloween themed, we all celebrate, well, most of us celebrate Halloween. Christmas events, a lot of people in the UK celebrate Christmas, like, it's known in the UK, but Oktoberfest, like, people be like, what's Oktoberfest? Like, people probably don't really care, but you know, it's an excuse to just like slate this event, so why not say it? And it just, like, it confuses me pretty much, and it's just like, yeah, that's all there really is to say about that, really. But just why Oktoberfest? Like, why not just something else? I don't know. Another thing that kind of confuses me about this whole thing is, like, the prince and princess, like, married in October, so why is it celebrated like mainly in September, and then for like 4, 5, 6, maybe 7, it depends when the first Sunday is in October. Like, why is it celebrated in September and not October? Like people are gonna see Oktoberfest and then like it celebrate, like, see it's like mainly in September, like, and be like, surely it's not going to be called, like, why is it not called Septemberfest? Like, just why not? Like, it's really, like, it should be called Septemberfest, surely, but it's called Oktoberfest, which does make sense, because obviously the wedding happens in October. Why is it celebrated in September? Like, yeah, like, this really confused me when, like, the event first started as well, because it's only, like, recently I did research, like, into this celebration fully, like, I didn't have a clue that it had anything to do with anything real life. Like when it started, this is all stuff like I researched later. Like even like when I've spoke to like friends about it, I've said like, why is it celebrated in September if it's called Oktoberfest? And they've just been like, well, I don't know really. But yeah, it's just, oh, this whole event is just messed up. Like, why is it in the UK and why is it called Oktoberfest but celebrated in September? Just like, oh dear, it's, yeah, like, I don't know what to say. The next thing I just want to rant about this event then is just that I'm really not into kind of the whole festival kind of atmosphere type things that this event is kind of like focused on. Like I'm just not into, I'm not interested in watching like the bands like perform German music. I'm not interested in the actors. I'm not interested in the singers. I'm not interested in drinking alcohol, even though, yeah, I am allowed to actually, even though like Taylor GC claims in a video technically that I look like a year 8 boy. Well, he sort of did anyway. Check out Taylor GC. Unfortunately that video got taken down in the Theme Park Enthusiasts Were Honest video that I featured in. It was a funny video, but it got taken down, and he claims I look like a year 8 pretty much. But yeah, still go and check out Taylor GC on YouTube, because he's a brilliant guy and has a brilliant channel. But yeah, I'm not interested in drinking and I'm not really interested in the food. It's just not my type of event. I'm more into the attraction type events, as I said before, like the Halloween events, you know. I'd probably rather try a scare maze than like get involved in Oktoberfest, even though I'm terrified of trying one. But still, I just probably would enjoy it more. Maybe probably be petrified, but it'd probably be fun. So yeah, and then like the Christmas events as well. I don't know. As much as they are kind of festival ones, like they just fit more with the like just to fit more with the park because they're more recognised in the UK. And then stuff like Bountzilla, it was a bouncy obstacle course, but it was still an attraction, and I'm sure I would have enjoyed it more than I enjoyed in Oktoberfest because it certainly looked like a better event. And like, yeah, I'm just not a fan of the soundtracks, as I said before, and the ride announcements. I mean, the soundtracks are okay, but I don't like them being played around the whole park. Like, just keep it all to one area. And then the ride announcements, I just don't really like that much. You know, as I said, the Thorpe Park soundtrack was okay. Like, that's probably my favourite Oktoberfest soundtrack. But just replacing the Island Like No Other soundtrack with that, like, just taking existing parts of the park's atmosphere and just replacing them with like something themed to an event that's like barely recognised in this country. Like the Halloween events and the Christmas events, I can tolerate, you know, having Halloween themed and Christmas soundtracks just because the more like recognised, like, you know, events and soundtracks like that would obviously fit more in a UK theme park because the events are more recognised in the UK. But just spreading Oktoberfest stuff across an entire park when it doesn't really fit with a UK theme park, to be honest, in my opinion. It's fine at Blackpool because it's in one area, but just, yeah, as you can tell, I'm just not a fan of it all. And yeah, I've kind of mentioned this before, but I just wanted to kind of sum my thoughts up in relation to that. It's just, yeah, the whole thing just feels out of place in the UK theme park pretty much. Like, the only exception I'd give is something like World Showcase at Epcot. Like, I think Oktoberfest, like that type of thing, festival event, does fit well there, and I've seen similar stuff to it, which pretty much like, you know, you see 24/7 in that area. You know, food, drink, themed to the different countries, and then obviously like the bands and stuff as well, the actors and stuff. That's like there all the time. World Showcase, like if they did Oktoberfest, you know, that style of event in like World Showcase in Epcot in like the German area, it'd work really well, you know, if they did it, and they might even do it, I don't know. Like, I'm not looked into this, but it would fit really well because that, you know, that's what Epcot's about. But in a UK theme park where things aren't, you know, about, you know, themed to different countries, like if it was in a German area in a UK theme park, then it would work better. But just UK theme parks aren't like that. There's like no UK theme parks as such, really. I mean, maybe Chessington's an exception with like Wild Asia, but there's no like theme parks that are like based around different countries in the UK. Mainly just the only two I can think of off the top of my head is obviously Europa Park and then World Showcase in Epcot. Like, that would be an exception as to, you know, using Oktoberfest outside of Germany, like, for me. Like, obviously because Epcot's in Florida in the United States, but yeah, apart from that, just no, it's just not, it doesn't fit in our UK theme parks in my opinion, considering that they're not themed, there's no like German themed areas, they're not themed to Germany at all, and Oktoberfest not really recognised in this country. The final thing I just want to rant about this event then is that an event, like why? Like why do an event that's largely adult orientated, focused around drinking and stuff, in the middle of a global pandemic? It just does not sit right with me at all. Like, I know they're not breaking the law by doing this event, you know, they're not breaking the law, parks, but I know like pubs and stuff are still open, even though in my opinion, to be honest, with how things are going, I don't think pubs should be open at the moment really, but you know, it's all about the economy, isn't it? But yeah, and pubs are a big part of that, but just, you know, especially running an event that includes, you know, additional alcohol in theme parks in the middle of a global pandemic, it just doesn't sit right with me. Like, loads of people don't stick to social distancing anyway. They're definitely not going to stick to social distancing if they're tipsy or drunk, are they? Like, and just parks, by doing that, are in a way going to make it worse for themselves and make, you know, put more people's lives at risk, increase the risk of more people getting ill. Like, I know security in parks will have obviously managed this stuff well. Like, I'm not aware of any incidents of such of chaos, but I mean, you've all heard about like the chaos with pubs and stuff, with, you know, people getting drunk and just forgetting to social distance and just no social distancing at all. Like, yeah, and the fact that parks have gone into that territory, it really does not sit right with me. It just, like, this for me, you know, I'm not a fan of Oktoberfest, as you can tell, and to me this is just a totally wrong year to run something like that. Like, they shouldn't have done it in my opinion, and yeah, it does not sit right with me, them doing that, selling alcohol and asking people to grab a beer in the middle of a global pandemic in a venue that's not dedicated to that stuff usually. They've gone out of the way to do an event to include that. Like, it does not sit right with me, and I've not heard anyone else sort of bring this up, which really does surprise me. Like, I never heard anyone else express this view, but yeah, really, it's not something I agree with at all, and just another reason why I really don't like this event. You know, I wouldn't like it if they'd done it a different year, but the fact that they've done it this year just really annoys me. Like, I know parks need the money, but you don't need to sell alcohol to make money. So, as I'm sure you can all tell, I absolutely despise Oktoberfest, and I honestly hope that it never returns to any park in the UK in a future year. But it's okay, because I have a brand new idea for a much better event that could run at the same time as Oktoberfest did this year, next year and in future years, and you'll never guess what that is. Bouncezilla Fest, the return of Bouncezilla with some added additions. You know, the return of the inflatable obstacle course that dominated Thorpe Park throughout summer 2019. Enthusiasts absolutely fell in love with this thing and started making RMC Bouncezilla jokes. In fact, it really baffles me that Thorpe Park haven't brought Bouncezilla back, and the only reason I can think of that is because they're fed up of the RMC Bouncezilla jokes. Because why not bring it back? Like, it was amazing. It looked absolutely incredible. Like, yeah, and it could be upcharged, you know. It doesn't have to be free. It can be upcharged. I'm pretty sure it was free, you know, the first time it came in. But it could be upcharged to help Parks get some money back. So, let me introduce my Minecraft collab partner, Kirsten from Everything Thorpe Park, as we discuss the additions to Bouncezilla that will be introduced when it returns for Oktoberfest. You see, this is what Bouncezilla should have been. Bouncezilla. Bouncing on slime blocks.
Bounce from the top stealth.
Jump off stealth and bounce off slime blocks. Not on the camera, mate. No, that's not funny. Yeah, but why not have a slime block diving area where we can jump off some of the, you know, UK's tallest roller coasters and attractions and bounce up and down on some slime blocks at the bottom? Because imagine like how high we would bounce if we jumped off the top of, you know, some of these structures. So, for example, you know, we're bringing the event to Alton Towers and Blackpool Pleasure Beach. You know, I should say that now. It should definitely go to those two parks. You know, like Thorpe Park, as Kirsten said, you know, you could jump off stealth onto slime blocks and, you know, bounce. And, you know, at Pleasure Beach, you could jump off the big one onto some slime blocks. And I guess at Alton Towers, you could jump off maybe, I don't know, the chained oak tree. You know, just be careful not to activate the curse. But, yeah, and then, you know, as for the inflatable obstacle course, like, you know, you could keep that in the same place at Thorpe Towers. You know, you could have it all on the front lawn. Imagine like how much room you'd have. And then, you know, at Pleasure Beach, why not just put it on Blackpool Beach? Like, why not? We're a better place to put it. Like, who needs food, drink, you know, German entertainment, you know, remix soundtracks that just ruin the park's atmosphere? You know, dancing, singing, who needs all of that when you could have the adrenaline and, you know, the challenges of jumping off some of these structures onto slime blocks? Like, imagine the thrill you get from that. It's just so much more exciting than Oktoberfest is. You know, and these inflatable obstacle courses, it just would be so much more appealing than Oktoberfest. You know, so much more unique, this event. So yeah, check out the all new for 2021 Oktoberfest event from Monday the 6th of September 2021 until Sunday the 3rd of October 2021. Anyway, be sure to subscribe and click the bell to enable notifications for more videos like this if you did enjoy this video. Also, be sure to give this video a like if you enjoyed the video, because it really does help out the channel. And be sure to comment down below your opinions on Bouncezilla. You know, I mean Oktoberfest, I'm sorry, but comment Bouncezilla down below if you want. But yeah, be sure to slate my opinion of Oktoberfest, because I know you all will. And yeah, that's all I really have to say about Oktoberfest. As you can tell, it's just not my type of event really, and it just confuses me to why the parks have sort of gone with the choice of an event that's not really, you know, themed to some like celebration that's not really recognised in this country. It does confuse me, like why they've suddenly gone Oktoberfest, you know, let's celebrate that, sort of out of the blue, really. And I'm just not a big fan of the new announcements and the new soundtracks and stuff, you know. Even though, like I said, the part one's okay, it's just like still like just an event, you know, that's not really recognised in this country, you know, based on something that isn't sort of taking over an entire park. Like, it just doesn't fit well in the park, you know, like UK parks that it's been put into for me. But obviously at Blackpool the situation is a bit different, because it's only in one sort of area, so I can kind of appreciate that a bit more, really. And also Blackpool doesn't really have sort of a theme that it could really interfere with as well, even though it doesn't. It's still a UK theme park, and a bit sort of, you know, it's like, oh, I've got this event themed to a celebration that's not really recognised in this country. But yeah, that's all I've really got to say. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.